Okay, basically copy it out, paste it in, and it'll take. All right, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Then there's a submit button, and it's already got a value, so I don't need to worry about that. So anyway, I'm just going to put something simple in here. Oh, no line breaks. Hi there. Bam. Okay. Now, I'm going to test this, which is kind of funny. I'm actually going to test this. Watch. I think it's filled out correctly. If it is, I can save it. Let me test it. Ha! The reply is sent. Okay. Now that's funny. I didn't need to see the page. I didn't even have to be on the page. Web Scraper Plus could have sent the message whether I had any Internet Explorer page open or not. All right, that's the point. It's automating it behind the scenes. So guess what? Going a little further, using Web Scraper Plus, SQL, and Web Macros, and in this case, Web Scraper Plus and SQL. All right, I'm actually able to pull in, I can scrape and get all the data I want for all the OIDs. I can get all the data I want for all the security codes here. And everything else is the same pattern. I can use SQL to fill in anything I want for the email addresses and anything I want for my message. Okay, and I can just start sending them. Now, I did that. Okay, let's cancel out of here. There's a reason I'm showing you all this stuff. I did that. That's what this thing is, by the way. And it goes, you know, if I open it and I want to kind of like show you what this sort of looks like, it's kind of funny to look at, edit it, right? There's a form list. It's a little more complex. Again, it looks like I wrote all this in here. I didn't. Okay, I wrote a little of it in here because I know how, but basically this is it. You're not going to believe it, but this says go build the exact message and send it in through all the variables, and I can test it, make sure it works. But anyway, when you're done, now I want to run this package, and it's going to go get all those reply links and send my message to all those guys behind the scenes with no web page. So here's my question. Any idea how fast it ran? Remember, Ron Farah had 3 computers and running neck and neck 24 hours a day. Okay, so it's like 72 hours of processing time in one day. In other words, 3 computers in parallel, 24 times 3. Okay, and he got however many leads he got, however many impressions to his site he got, and however many signups he got. You know, some number of people signed up. 95% of the people probably didn't have the money, 5% would. Out of them, some of the people sign up as leads, and 1 or 2 are going to wind up buying, that kind of thing. And that's how I wound up making is like 3 sales a week with the thing at $3,500 a pop. Okay, so this is a high ticket item. Got to go through a lot of people to get it. But, you know, he'd get something like 100 signups a day. And get a load of this. I got a hold of him and I said, you know what, Ryan, you've been pretty good to me. You've drawn a lot of business my way. And I need to test something, and I know you've got ads on Backpage. I need you to send me a bunch of posts from Backpage because I don't have any up. I got to test this replier here. So he sent me 21. All right. And so I auto-plugged that stuff into SQL. I just kind of like typed it in by hand. I made sure to line up all right. I needed to do a test on only his, right? No one else, just him, and see how it went. And so I said, are you ready? Open your email client because I'm just about to execute this thing. And when I do, I need you to check your email on your own. Okay. Now I don't have this set up to run right now just because I didn't scrape anything for it. But I'm not trying to run it right now. I want to make a point to you instead. That's this. He got his email ready and I hit execute. Okay, and it loaded up the custom window you always see whenever you run a package inside of here, and it warmed up for a couple of seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden it took off. Brrr, old 21, split second, less than a second, boom, they were out. And I said to him, hurry, refresh your email list right now. And so he refreshed it. You know what? He got all 21 responses in his email. He checked through them all. Everything had line breaks. Everything had hyperlinks. Everything looked exactly right. Okay? And it was a long message. It was like a 3-paragraph message because we were testing this thing well. Nuts. And I said, do you want me to do it again? He went pale just seeing them appear. He said, yeah, go ahead. And so I did it again. And he refreshed again. And he got 21 more through the same posts. Okay? Why? Because There cannot be rules from Backpage when you're just simply sending the messages right to the email queue. The only thing you can do is jam the queue up by going too fast. I'll get into that in a second. I clocked it. We both went crazy. I said, Ron, get me a special link so that impressions, clicks, signups, we know they came from this run. So, oh, no problem. And so he got me a special link and everything. He set all up and sent it to me. He was real careful to get everything lined up. I said, all right, I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm going to stress test this thing. I'm sure I'm going to send this out faster than Backpage can handle, but I'm not sure how fast it'll go. We got to see. So I scraped up like 100,000 links. I just did. And I let this auto reply rip at it. Okay. And it loaded up for a few seconds and then it started to go. It looked like installing a program on your computer, you know? And then it kind of slowed down as it went because it was going for so long. Anyway, an hour passed, then an hour and a half, and I kept checking Backpage here and there to make sure that they hadn't blocked me out. At the hour and a half mark, pretty much, somewhere right around there, they did block me out. And I thought, there it is. There's the cutoff for this late night run where we really pushed it hard. Okay. Now, I checked through the math to see how far I got. In an hour and a half, I sent out 22,500 replies on a single processor computer with 3 gig of RAM in Elkhart, Indiana, which means on a real slow internet connection. Now I live in Issaquah, Washington, right outside of Seattle, top of the hill, and I've got a much, much faster computer and a blazing fast internet connection. I actually have one of those Asus Intel quad-core i7s that just came out. It's the top of the line for the consumer market now, and I'm on a 12 meg down, 2 meg up connection. This thing is blazing fast. I've downloaded stuff at over 3 megabytes a second, like Apple's QuickTime. I've uploaded stuff and pegged a meg uploading instead of in Elkhart, Indiana, like 50 kilobytes a second. Massive, massive, massive difference. Okay, and I'll bet that and I ran the blitz once here. Instead of 65,000 in half an hour, I ran on a shorter run. I got 40,000 links in about 7 minutes. Blew my mind. 40,000 contacts in like 7 minutes that were all lined up ready for me to contact. Okay, the auto-replier, if I ran this auto-reply now, well, as soon as I loaded up data for it, it would be something like maybe even 100,000 an hour could go out. Now, before you really get thinking about sending 100,000 messages an hour, let me step back and say most of the time that can't work. It can't work for long. Here's why. Email servers take in emails that people, email requests. People are sending the emails and the server's got to send them pretty much unless it's like hard stopped. Okay, well, here's what's going on. You always have 2 disks spinning full speed in there. One of them is reading all those incoming email requests and writing them on that disk. Okay, it's getting them ready. That's the queue. The email queue is all written to the first disk. Now that first disk writes to the second one, and it could just be a partition on the first disk, whatever. But it's got to read and write. And that second disk is writing them off, actually sending off the emails. Okay. The reason there must be 2 disks is systems often get emails that come in faster than the system can send them. If the system could only send like 10 a second or 1 a second or 2 a second, but people are sending more emails harder and faster, then there's no way it could work unless it had this buffer in the middle, this read-write routine going on. Well, the risk for a big company or a small, any company with an email server is that if you are flooding them too hard and too fast, that disk is going to fill up. What if I have 15,000 messages going out and they had some kind of an attachment for like a meg? That'd be 15,000 meg. Do you get the point? Per hour? Getting written to that first disk while it's still trying to write. Okay, there's just a point where you're going to bog it down. All right, and they're going to have to hard stop it, clear out most of your, they got to isolate all your messages, all the ones that look like copies, and drop them. The thing that's causing the problem, block your IP range for a day or 2 or whatever it is, and then restart the thing. They've got to try to block you out somehow, and then they try to do new encryption, silly little things like adding randomized code to the page, which is cheap. That's what most servers do, most systems out there. Okay, they don't want to upgrade to full DDoS protection because it's expensive, like 130 grand to get that kind of control. So most systems go with cheap. Now, well, here's the thing. Here was the hard test.